And it's telling us we're live, Kylie. I'm Lori
Here we
Joves with
go.
Pop Speed Digital Marketing, and this is Kylie Metcalf, and this is our first LinkedIn Live. So we want to talk today. We're doing this because we've not done one before. We wanted to see how the technology worked and maybe share some good stuff with our audience in the process. So Kylie, why don't you get us started? Tell us what we're going to talk about today.
Sounds good. So, today we're going to talk about our top 10 to digital marketing don'ts. These are a kind of a laundry list of things that we've seen, we've experienced, or things that we've learned the hard way. Because we don't think that in order to get your digital marketing right, you need to be a guru at it. There's obviously, agencies like us that are at the ready to help and assist. However, if for, the time being, you need to handle a few things yourself, these are a lot of the common mistakes that we have seen people make in their digital marketing.
Yeah. All right, let's dig in. So, slide number 1, we see this a lot, is a lot of people will work without goals or strategy. They here, just go throw this up on social. We need to send this email. And without clear goals and a strategy, you can't really expect to get any results.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that another thing we see here too is we kind of refer to it as the spray and pray approach.
Yeah.
Um, which basically to us means, we have this random idea, we're going to throw it out there, see if it sticks. If it doesn't, oh well. And then everything that you do kind of follows that same pattern. When you have the forethought of a strategy, it allows you to kind of not only work with an idea and set goals on what you want to achieve with your digital marketing, it kind of also allows you to take a step back and see what within that strategy is and isn't working, and then adapt with more thought and reason and intention behind it.
Mhm. And they call them KPIs, key performance indicators, for a reason. Because when you do get deep into a strategy, which I recommend you do before you spend a dollar, spend dollars on strategy before you spend dollars on anything else, and really look at what you're going to measure to know you're successful. What is it you're trying to accomplish? Are you trying to get new leads? Are you trying to get people to come to your restaurant? What are you trying to do? And then set it up in a way that you can measure it. And that would be set out in your strategy. So that's number 1. I don't want to be here all day, so we're going to move on to number 2. um, Forgetting about your target audience. This one always intrigues me because people can get very embedded in their industry and maybe be more attentive to the technical aspects of what they're doing, not really realizing that the audience doesn't care. All they want is an awesome experience, great food, whatever. And that when you look at your audience and figure out what they want, what they need, and how you can connect with them, your messaging is going to be just, exponentially more successful. You'll be exponentially more successful if you can do that. And tell me, let's talk a little bit, Kylie, about how we figure out who the audience is and what they
I
need.
think just kind of plain and simple research. I think each industry has, whether you're looking at education or, cosmetics or, all of the infinite industries that exist, specifically, let's talk about America, like it seems never ending. Every audience has their own unique behaviors, preferences, niches, needs, things, of that nature. So
Hmm.
doing the research of what each of those industry audiences, what does the typical consumer look like? What's their age? Where are they located? Things of that nature, kind of honing in on demographics. But then in addition to that, once you do kind of initiate your digital marketing efforts, doing the research to get to know your particular niche audience a little bit better.
Hmm.
So that would entail things like what time are they, most frequently being logged on to social media? What are they responding to of your content best and worst? So kind of once you do the research to find out the demographic of your audience, spending a little bit more time detailing their specific behaviors online can be really helpful in deciding how to best reach them and meet what it is they're looking for you to give them.
Hmm. As one example, I remember we've done a couple of proposals for larger agencies that we can serve as support for. And we had a big chunk in the middle of this strategy that was research on what chief marketing officers want in their agencies. What traits do they want their agencies to have? And then you take the client, our client, which would be the digital marketing shop, the larger one, and we go to them and see which of these needs do you serve and which of these desires are more suited to you, which of these traits are you really loaded full of. If you're really responsive and that's a value to them, then you're going to take that messaging and put it into your social and email and website content so that they know that you're responsive. So we take the needs and desires of the audience, we combine that with the client, see where that intersects, and then use that messaging and those types of content types to reach them and give them something they need, give them something that appeals to them, something that they absolutely want to come back and see more of. So the target audience is really, really important, and you should spend significant amount of time on them, on learning what they love, talking to them, surveying them, anything you can do to find out what that target audience is looking for, so you can figure out how you suit that need. So on to number 3. This one is always something we consistently see, which is inconsistent branding. And usually
Yes.
what it means is there's 5 or 6 people, when everybody's responsible for something, nobody's responsible for it. And a lot of times social can get relegated to a team of people, and they'll just put this up, put that up, put this up. And there may not be anybody overseeing it to make sure that it resonates with the brand of the organization posting or sending that content. Have you run into that before, Kylie?
Yes, I think to kind of take it a step further, even what that can entail, like it's not, I think sometimes, I guess a misunderstanding about this idea, the idea of consistent versus inconsistent branding is something as simple as, an organization using like different logos or things like that. That's not even kind of what we're talking about, I don't think. I think it's, you want consistent colors, you want consistent themes, fonts, stylized graphics, things like that. So I think it kind of plays into the importance of brand recognizability and how that generates loyalty from your audience. If somebody
Mhm.
follows you on Facebook and, really engages with your brand on Facebook, and then, on a whim one day decides, you know what, I'm going to go visit them on Instagram or LinkedIn too. You want to make it easy for them to know that it's your brand, you know?
Mhm.
So to make that easiest, you want to kind of keep consistent what it is that you're presenting, what your brand looks like, and kind of how you present your aesthetic on social media, on your website, just to, avoid confusion with your audience and anybody that's looking to engage with you.
Absolutely. We use this tomato red. I call it tomato soup
Mhm.
red. And you'll see it in all of our marketing. But
Yes.
most of our decks, we do not use red text. Sometimes we do, but this red and white, I mean, it has a lot of impact. So that's
Mhm.
the way we stay consistent with our branding, is with that wonderful tomato soup red. So
Yes.
moving on to number 4. Another thing that we see, and this is, there's so much DIY digital content out there right now, is we see people creating something for desktop and then throwing it up on mobile, on in stories or reels somewhere, and it's really not appropriate. It really doesn't work in that context.
Mhm.
So we say you create it for mobile first, and then you deploy over the other channels or edit over the other channels with different size graphics or different format aspect ratio for your video. But you can't ignore mobile, because I think it was 75 to 80%, if not higher, of the
Mhm.
people viewing your website and your social content will be looking at it on mobile. Matter of fact, a
Mhm.
lot of consumers don't even have a desktop computer. So if you have a
Yeah.
B2C brand, they're not even on the computer. They're always looking at it on their phones. So I
Yeah.
think it's really important. Anything you want to say about that, Kylie?
I think another interesting thing to kind of add to that is for email marketing, whether that's newsletters or promos being sent via email. For me personally, I obviously get a lot of like marketing trends newsletters and things of that nature. And being at my desk all day, I kind of view those in like a mixture of my email on my phone versus email on my desktop. And for some of them, it's really interesting, especially like coming from other marketing agencies, how many of them look so much prettier on my desktop than they do on my phone. Sometimes via mobile, they look a little bit more scrambled or overwhelming or things like that. So I think with that in mind, I think it's very easy to prioritize mobile when you're looking at social media. I feel like everybody's aware of that we spend, if you're on Instagram, 9 times, probably more than that out of 10, you're on your phone. But I think that also rings true for the things that you might not think about as often. Being associated with your phone is email marketing and your websites.
Mm-hmm. And the website can be challenging. I mean, sometimes the website, when it translates over to mobile, it's just too busy, too much
Yeah.
text. I'd rather go lighter on my desktop version on text because of short attention spans than have heavy text on my mobile. It's just the less text, the better. I swear people
Yeah.
have such short attention spans. I think, didn't we come up with the 2 second rule? If you can't get their attention in 2 seconds, they're
2
done.
seconds.
So
Yep.
another good one, SEO optimization. It's really surprising to me how many people we see that need websites, that build websites, that build their own websites, which again, DIY is a big deal. They don't do any SEO optimization. Now, if you're not a digital marketing person, SEO is search engine optimization. You want to make sure that you're paying attention to the way your content is written. There's tricks and tips and techniques to create articles that Google loves and to set up your website for success so that when someone searches for, in your product or business category, you come up. Even if you come up third or fourth, fifth, whatever, if you can optimize your website, and you may need to hire somebody to do this. I know very few people that can do it on their own. Matter of fact, we don't do it on our own. We have people because there are specialists that really know what they're doing. We write the content for SEO, but we don't actually do the optimization of the sites. That's its own art form, I swear. Anything you have to say about that, Kylie? I keep talking.
Just that
I
it's
keep
worth
talking,
it. If you're writing for a blog, if you're writing for the homepage on your website, whatever the case may be, ultimately it takes. I'll speak. I spend the most time with SEO writing blogs, so I can speak to that a little bit better. It's worth the extra, however many minutes it's going to take you to research keywords, optimize for those keywords, and really make it like relevant and noticeable for your audience and what it is that they're searching. It just makes the world of a difference.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's go over to number 6. This one we really see, and I'm going to go back to this thing that I always say. If everyone watches the 3-year-old at the lake, no one is watching the 3-year-old at the lake. And that applies to social media too. You often hear, especially from, larger agencies that we service, we're just going to do this ourselves. And because it's considered to them an in-house kind of project, it just doesn't happen except for in fits and starts. You have to have a consistent effort to build the power of your social channels, to build your relationship with your audience, to figure out what content works best. So, I mean, not showing up or, letting a week or two go by with no content. Yikes. Have you seen
Yeah.
that, Kylie?
Oh yeah. I mean, plenty of times, especially it's interesting when you like kind of present it in the case of other agencies too. It's it almost seems, I think your analogy is a great analogy, just that it's one of those things that comes so naturally that it doesn't come at all. Like
Yeah.
you assume, I think I'm trying to remember how recently this was, but it's, within the last few months, we'll look at other agencies, for ideas for us or, just for a little bit of inspiration. And it's amazing how many you see even being within our industry that, the last time they posted was 6 months ago, but then there was one 3 months later, and you're never going to really optimize the results of social media by being that inconsistent.
Yeah. Seriously. So, and when you do show up, it's worth it.
Yes.
Hashtag social media works.
Yes.
Ooh, you
Our
talked
mantra.
about this one earlier, so I'm gonna let you touch this one again.
Yes. So this kind of it really does play into the importance of having a strategy, but it's just following a spray and pray approach to us means you come up with an idea without really thinking about it or detailing it or kind of honing in on what the end result, the desired end result is, just kind of putting it up and, hoping that it works. Um, it doesn't. Most of the time, it doesn't. And ultimately, if that's kind of the strategy that you're going to follow, you're not going to see the results that social media has the potential to kind of put into your brand to uplift, the audience size, the engagement, and ultimately sales, because that's always the goal, right? So under the umbrella of following a spray and pray approach, you're deviating. If you do have a strategy, that's deviating from it. It's kind of taking away from your consistency, from your credibility to your audience. And then on the flip side of that, if that's all that you're doing, it's going to confuse your audience. So there really is something to be said for having a strategy, following it, and then intentionally making adjustments when necessary.
Mhm.
And kind of being very intentional and strategic with your approach is ultimately, I think we definitely agree on this, worth the effort, worth the dollar amount, and worth the resources that it might take to do so.
Absolutely, and I will add, this doesn't mean that everything has to be structured and scheduled out a month in advance. There
Hmm.
should be some content that's scheduled out a month in advance, but there
Hmm.
will also be things that come up. But if you're
Hmm.
following your strategy and there's a pop-up event or you go to a trade show or somebody
Hmm.
gets a employee of the month and you want to add that, layer that onto your content, absolutely do that. But don't be the kind of company that just, oh, somebody got an employee of the month, put that up, and then 3 weeks later, oh, we went to a trade show, put that up, and a month later, oh wait, it's the founder's birthday, let's put that up. I mean,
Right.
you're not going to get any results, and then you're going to say social media doesn't work, but hashtag social media works. So it does. That's my favorite hashtag. So okay, the other now, Kyla, you do a lot of our analytics for our clients. We do them
Hmm.
every month. We provide them usually around the 15th, and we dig in to see what it is that it can tell us. So talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think the key here is just that the numbers really do tell a story. If you're looking at your social media analytics every month, what you're seeing is, it goes almost even beyond what it is that's getting the most engagement or what it is that's reaching the highest number of people in your audience. You're getting a detailed look at what your audience responds to, when they respond to it, and in what way they're responding to it, whether that's likes, comments, clicks, video views. Every kind of number you can imagine across the board is something that really should be looked at. If you're not looking at your analytics month over month, you're missing key details that your audience is trying to signal to you. If you're a restaurant and you publish an array of content, and every once in a while you're highlighting a waiter or waitress at your restaurant for great service, and consistently that gets great numbers across your channels, but then the tomato soup on your menu is something that's not getting great numbers. It requires a little bit of adjustment on your end to kind of flip-flop your content a little bit, respond to what your audience is telling you, and really hone in on what's gonna work for you and your audience on social media.
And let me drop something in here. This is one of those little tidbits, is that the most engaging types of content right now are user generated content,
Mhm.
meaning it's something that one of your consumers shared, and they allow you to share it so it looks really authentic. It looks like whatever they
Mhm.
normally see in their feed. Doesn't look branded or promoted or, commercial. UGC is huge. Smiling faces is always a category that gets a lot of engagement. We're all human underneath
Mhm.
our intellect. We're just human, we're animals. And we have certain things that are appealing to us. Smiling faces are so appealing, and you can really increase your engagement with smiling faces, believe it or not. And then the other category is let's see, UGC, smiling faces, and things that can be interpreted in 2 seconds or less,
Mhm,
right? Anything
mhm,
that requires people to read, forget it. They're not going to do it. If it's a
mhm.
headline, it's got to be bold, very few words. Think of social media like a billboard, which
Yeah.
I used to be in the billboard industry, and they always said nothing should ever have more than 5 words on it, ever. 5 word headline, that's it in outdoor. So, anyway, next, 9, neglecting community management. We see this everywhere. People don't respond to the comments on their social channels. So a consumer will come in and complain about something and tell some big sad story, and it'll just sit there for everybody else to read. Or somebody will hop onto a post and try to sell, Bitcoin or cryptocurrency,
Right. We
and
see a lot
it'll
of
just sit
that.
there, or there'll be 6 of those, and you're like, "What is
Yes.
happening? Why aren't why don't people respond to their social content?" What do you think, Kylie? Why is that? Because it's such a common problem.
The best guess I have for that is a lack of time, a lack of energy, or a
Yeah.
lack of understanding that it makes a difference. Which I get, it is you get the post up and you want it
You
to
move
end
on.
there and then hopefully it works. And that makes sense for somebody whose day to day doesn't revolve around the social media of a business or organization. I totally get it. And I think that's one of the beauties of kind of hiring in an agency is that it's it's in our lifeblood to spend the day
Oh,
on
yeah.
social media, keep up with private messages you're getting, keep up with comments. And an added bonus to that, other than just responding to the negative comments, negative reviews, or questions, is when somebody does have a positive something, anything positive to say about the business or organization, and you interact with them or you request their permission to use that testimonial or the image or whatever it may be on the business page, you're
Mhm.
building a deeper level of connection between the brand and the audience. And who knows if somebody sees within the comments of a post that you're responding to and really engaging with others, they might be more likely to do that again.
Mhm.
Or it might inspire somebody else to do it in the future. So it really helps you kind of build that community and
Mhm.
keep it moving forward into the future.
Yeah, we actually like to, put names on our responses.
Hmm.
So, some of our clients are in the healthcare category, and it's very personal to them when they comment to us about something that's happening physically to them in their health. It's very personal. So we get emails, or not emails, we get messages, we get comments, and we'll respond and then use our name. And we have someone on the team who is allocated to check each social channel for each client twice a day. First thing in the morning, first thing in the afternoon. And what it does is makes us, makes our brands and clients that we represent look responsive, but it
Hmm.
also helps bring them leads
Yeah.
because people will say, I want to know more about this. Where can I get this? Where do you sell that? And then you can answer those questions quickly. I read recently a statistic that said that consumers think that they should receive a reply to an online complaint in a half hour. That's what they expect. Most of them aren't,
Mhm.
most companies can't do that, but consumers have very high expectation for your community management. If you're on social media, they have very high expectations. It's good to meet those expectations. And the other
Mhm.
thing I read was that if a client is or somebody is interested in buying something from you, they're more likely to buy if you respond to them within 3 hours, which I thought was fascinating because, to
Mhm.
put a timeline on it, I never thought to do that, you want to be responsive. But by
Right.
the time 3 hours, a couple days go by, they've moved on. They may not be interested.
Forgotten all about it.
So you
Right.
wanna grab it, get it into private message, get a phone number, get in
Yeah.
touch, and make that sales or
I think
transaction
another layer
happen.
to it too is, when there are complaints or negative reviews or questions about a problem a consumer may have had with service or a product or, anything of that nature, it really
Mhm.
can, help you address underlying issues that you may be having that you didn't even know, the business leaders or the
Yes.
CEOs or whoever it may be wouldn't have any other way of knowing even exist. So I
Absolutely.
think, and then by responding and giving that consumer that had initially started with a negative experience, following it up with a positive one, letting them know that you care or that you want to make it right, kind of reinstates that, okay, maybe I will give them another chance. Maybe I will come back. So I think there's all pros and no cons to to taking care of your community
Yeah,
management.
there's so many things to it. And the thing that I find too, we've got a couple of clients that require us to have really strong communities in order to create the connection and relationship between the practice and their potential patient. That we
Mhm.
go back and forth and we create this community that sometimes we see a complaint or a kind of pointed question go up on a post,
Mhm.
and one of their happy former patients will step in and answer that complaint or question. So the
Mhm.
practice doesn't even have to. It's really, really cool when that happens.
Yeah.
And by creating that community, people will share photos with you, they'll share testimonials with you. Community management is much more important than I think a lot of people understand.
Yep.
So, okay,
Absolutely.
onward. Number 10, failing to evolve. Tell me about this one, Kylie.
I think something that we see particularly in social media and just the world of technology in general is how fast we're moving and evolving. It's almost so fast that it's tough to keep up with as something that we do every single day. For example, a if you run into an issue on your Facebook page or things of that nature, you could Google what the solution is or how to fix it. The answer could be from 3 months ago, and it could already be outdated. The same is true for the algorithms on every social media channel. They are constantly changing,
Mhm.
constantly evolving. And with that, our audiences are too. So being ready, willing, and almost eager to adapt with these changes is
Mhm.
so important, in particular on social media. Um, because as even as simple as what meme is trending in a given week,
Mhm.
um it's constantly changing, and if you're unwilling to take your digital marketing, your social media on that journey with the rest of the world, you're going to fall flat at some point. So I think
Absolutely.
really being eager and adaptive is something that's crucial for digital marketing success.
Absolutely. And I'll just mention one example of this. We go to a lot of, online workshops from TikTok or LinkedIn, and we talk to the reps at Facebook. We talk to people that are at these channels. And I was on a TikTok workshop, I think maybe 6 months ago now.
Mhm.
And
I
what
think
they
I was on that
said,
one too.
yeah, that what they said was a trend was standing out by fitting in,
Mhm.
and that the day of the influencer is over. And we started digging into that, and what stand out by fitting in means is make your content look like what other people are sharing, not what other brands are sharing, but what human beings are
Mhm.
sharing, because we go on social media to engage with other human beings, not brands. So if you want to get people to feel good about your organization, use images from your consumers or that
Mhm.
look really authentic, because everybody knows influencers get paid. And so now they're not as trustworthy as they used to be. Where a consumer
Right.
who's not getting paid and just decides to share this happy story about your company, they have a lot of cred. And
Yeah.
that credibility, taking advantage of that credibility means making your content look more like what people enjoy seeing from their friends and family members. Not
Yeah.
all the time. You can't always do it, but when you
Mhm.
can, it really helps. So that was just one trend. And the UGC trend is another one that we heard of, because we're always looking into what those trends are. And if you want to
Mhm.
be successful on social media, that's one of the key things that you have to do.
Yeah,
So let's
absolutely.
move along to 12 or 12 to 10 and a half. It's slide 12, but it's number 10 and a half. And this one is, of course, a little bit self-serving, but we do social media differently. We don't do it like everyone else. We run into a lot of situations where there's somebody in your office that wants to do social media, and they're so happy about it and so excited, and they're allowed to do it. But when you go look at the social channels, what you see is social media done as if someone's doing it for their personal account. It's not marketing. So social media marketing is what we do. If you just want somebody to do social media and you're not really interested in results, then, you can give it to your nephew's roommate. I mean, we've seen that happen. I've literally seen that happen. Um, and then they wonder why nothing, they don't get any results and nobody came to my seminar. It's like, well, because you
Right.
had someone with no experience whatsoever in marketing do your social. And that doesn't get you results. So we are going to put ourselves out there, and all the other social media agencies and social media professionals, that there is a reason to hire a pro. There's a difference between painting your living room and hiring a professional to paint your living room. And it's the same way with social media. If you want work done well, hire the professionals. So with that in mind, I think we have, taken up just about a half an hour, which is exactly what we were hoping it would be. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, I'm an open networker on LinkedIn at Lori Jo Vest. And Kylie, you are too, right?
Yes, I am.
Connect with us. You can always email me too at lori@popspeeddigital.com. Visit our website. We've got all kinds of great blog articles on, digital marketing, things we are learning as we go, and things that we've learned in our, 5.5 years as an agency. So thank you, Kylie, for joining me.
Yes, thank you for having me.
This was super fun. We'll be back.
Yes, we will.